In Massachusetts, Walpole State Prison is the end of the line. It houses 700 of the state's most violent, unmanageable offenders. 300 corrections officers come to work here every day. Their job is to impose order onto an environment that constantly threatens to spin out of control.
Morning. How you doing? No, you're not carrying any bullets or...
This security checkpoint is the only way in or out. Since it was opened in 1956, no one has ever escaped from Walpole.
Okay, 2 cameras. When you guys are carrying. Do you know that aluminum foil is contraband? Thank you. And I'm going to stamp your inner right wrist just in case you guys get lost in there. I don't think you want to spend the night, right?
What do they make out of aluminum foil?
I've had this ad blocker for 1 week, and it's already blocked over 1,000 ads. Meet Pi, a Chrome extension that blocks ads, and it's completely free. What's really crazy?
Just about anything can make little bombs out of it.
Welcome to another episode, everyone. And the headline here reads, Maximum Security Inside Walpole State Prison. And as you can see, it's in Massachusetts. Let's see what they're going to do over there. I mean, as many of you know, I served in excess of 30 years of incarceration in California prisons and youth authorities and etc. And I'm always interested to find out how the other prisons operate around the world and around the country.
They use matches, anything with a spark on, it's not allowed in the institution.
How do you make a bomb out of aluminum foil?
If you have 24 hours in your cell, you can think of a lot of ways. You have some smart inmates in here.
Location, sir?
Say again? We can come to work one morning and not go home. And certainly that plays heavily on your mind sometimes. We've had people quit the first day that they come in. Some people it takes them a little bit longer, but you know within a short period of time whether this is for you or not.
We came here to follow an 11-member team known officially as the Interperimeter Security Unit, or IPS. They are the police in a world composed entirely of the state's most hardened criminals.
Same thing. Okay, just step up there.
What gets you into Walpole is repetitive misbehavior at other institutions. We have inmates serving sentences in here ranging from drug convictions to multiple homicides, and it runs the entire gamut. It's not just based on your crime. The majority of it is based on your behavior.
Within hours, one gang member has slashed another.
Yo, you put a shit?
Johnny.
Yeah, I didn't want bitch. That's right, bitch. Come out of here.
The IPS security unit has recovered the weapon, a handmade steel shank.
Yeah, okay, just hang on. I want something that's tampered with down
That might be it. 2 screws.
It looks a little long for the clamp.
Okay, so that weapon, you know, it's not what we would call a bone crusher in prison, something that can literally crush your bones. But it's more like a slasher, something to slice your face with. Could have been made out of some sort of can or something. Like it looks like something that'll do more of a slicing job as opposed to a stabbing job. Apparently that's what he did, sliced the dude up. At least from this end of it. I haven't seen the other end. This is Massachusetts, and apparently their prison is violent as well.
This wound is rounded. He may have cut that. Yeah, it is cut on the end.
Last year alone, 98 inmates were seriously assaulted at Walpole, and 260 weapons were found.
Where are they getting that from, Jimmy? Gavino Rivera's cell.
If this is the way society...
Okay, I stand corrected. I mean, it's close to a bone crusher. Actually, that was the other end of it I was looking at. This is just a regular homemade, prison-made knife that could indeed do some damage. It is designed to penetrate your body.
He wants to run their prisons in an orderly fashion, and we have to investigate crimes within the prison. We're not going to call the local police to come in here and do that. It's our jurisdiction, it's our responsibility to do that.
Your metal comes down and it folds right back up again on the other side. I'm pulling that off, snapping that off. Front still looks the same, but the back edge is gone.
We'll have to check those.
My brain is mangled.
Through the process of interrogation, the security unit hopes to gain information about other homemade weapons hidden within the cell block.
Hey, if he kicks something in later on, we can do something for him.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep.
No guarantees out, naturally, but...
Yeah, he says he's all done because for informational purposes.
Great news! Now your account has a level, and you get free daily cases.
His information line's done. Okay. Because if he goes back now, he's a fucking hero, you know what I'm saying?
Now I think the next thing may be shaking the whole block. I'm waiting for that one next.
You know it's coming. Yeah. You know it's coming. That's all right, but we gotta be able to, I don't know, we gotta be able to go in there and take our time. Really take our time. Right. And just go through every little thing that's in there. That's right.
The interrogation proves successful, and Lieutenant Grossi orders a surprise shakedown of the cell block known as Plymouth 2.
Kenny, what's your 20 right now?
Give him your name. 45, 44, 43. Let's go. All right. All set.
Ready? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go. All right. That's the block. Put these guys in.
Alex, I hear all these toilets flushing. Does that mean anything?
Yeah, they're probably flushing things they're not supposed to have in themselves.
Okay, so yeah, the police are coming in raiding. This whole makeup is different than in California prisons. You've already seen on my channel the makeup, the build of the California prisons. They have different buildings, and the inside is totally different than this. This is more of a county jail makeup, but obviously it's the prisons here in Massachusetts. And apparently they're going in here for a raid, what we would call the goon squad. This doesn't look like any particular elite force of officers, but whatever officers they are going in here to raid the unit, raid the building, which means search the cells. Everybody get down, cuff them up, whatever, take them out their cells, search for contraband, illegal narcotics, etc. And they're talking about the toilets flushing because people are flushing their contraband. Right now, as they hear the police, see the police coming in, they're flushing. Now, in California prisons at least, they've been known to turn the water off when they're running to your cell so that you can't flush. You're going to have to do something else with it.
Paperwork, maybe even weapons.
Shakedowns are a logistical nightmare. The goal is to empty all 45 cells while keeping gang members from attacking one another.
We got to be real careful in this block because there's 5 sectors, and you got to really be careful of who you let out with who. There's 5 sectors of 9 inmates each. Those 9 are compatible with each other, and if we kind of intermingle sectors, we're asking for troubles. Be cognizant of who's out with who. We're going to try to stay within the sectors. Okay. Danny, what we're looking for also are those hard toothbrushes, the Oral-B's.
The Oral-B's?
Do you know what they look like?
Yeah.
Take those.
Take those?
Yeah,
Okay.
take them.
This line of business is kind of paramilitary. I like to look at it as paramilitary as opposed to being like a police department. My father was in the service, so I'm an Army brat. So I think that brought me a long way because he was kind of a squared away person. He liked to have his uniform squared away and his boots shined. So you learn from that.
Been having a problem with these eyeglasses because they're inside these earpieces, if that's what they are. There's a sharp metal thing that's already sharpened to a point, and these guys have been stripping off the plastic and using these as weapons. Let's go see what this guy's up to. Yeah, stand over in the slop sink. Why? Because you can't be with these dudes. Right in the slop sink. All right? What's up with these?
These inmates try to be intimidating,
Where's the other part?
so
Where's the other
you kind of call their bluff. You have to know when they're not bluffing, of course, but you have to meet force with force, and we will always come out the victor.
You got a prescription for these?
I use them just for fun.
Yeah? Around, huh? Yeah, okay. We'll be checking that out. I don't give.
The guys in the second tier, if you notice, I've been constantly looking up at them. If they start going astray.
I guess this is some sort of security housing unit. You know, similar to the SHU, the security housing unit in the California prisons. This cannot be the main line because of the makeup. This is not general population. They don't have TVs in their cell or nothing, and they don't have much property in there. They're talking about IPS, and these are IPS officers, so this is something else going on here. This is some sort of, well, as they said, maximum security.
If they're doing something silly, I'm gonna be right on it.
Keogh van or Van Keogh. See if he's supposed to have some glasses, because we're missing.
Oh, we're definitely removing those. Where's the two ends?
We don't know. He threw them in the trash.
He's not gonna be able to get a new pair.
That's correct. He says he needs them for around, not even reading. Little retrieving line here, fellas.
Danny!
What is that? It's a retrieving line. What does that mean? When they're locked in, they can send, they can put a weight on the end of it and send things around to anybody in the block. You know, they throw it over the tier, and the next guy will pass it down. And it's a way of getting things around into the in the block.
I'm going to tell the inmate.
I want to check this toothbrush out because it looks like it may be one of the ones we're looking for. He's got this wrapped around pretty good
Hey,
here.
excuse me. Norm, there was another question I had too. Van Keogh, K-E-O? Can we check and see if he's got a current prescription on eyeglasses?
Oh, stinger. This is a heating device. What they do is they plug this into the wall socket, and it's two pieces of metal. Usually, as you can see, it's an old nail clipper. As long as you keep them separated by a piece of cardboard or a piece of plastic, you can plug this into the wall, and this will start heating up cherry red hot. They put it in a cup of water, and it boils the water.
See, the tough part about that is that if it gets wicked hot, like you would have it, you know, on top of your stove, you can throw it at the staff.
Got your stinger.
Last year, 24 officers, or nearly 10% of the workforce, were violently assaulted by inmates, often during routine operations like this.
Somebody's got to watch your back. I mean, you can't be doing it. You got your eye in that camera right there. Some of these guys, I'm telling you, you know, you turn your back and you get lax and you're walking to tears, someone can reach out and do something silly to you. Even if it's not life-threatening, you still don't want to be disrespected like that. So.
You gotta watch that camera guy, man. He's gonna get jumped. He's gonna get stabbed. Watch.
Who's that?
The camera guy.
Close 1-9.
Alright, listen up. 9 block, Lucia, Cox, Cahill, Diver, Plymouth 1, Fernandez, Melo Sahebda, DDU.
This morning, the security unit is trying to head off a racial conflict. Left unchecked, this is the sort of activity that can set off riots. Sergeant Steve Kennedy and Alex Rodriguez are assigned to a surveillance operation to monitor the inmates. From an observation gallery, Alex serves as the eyes, watching the inmates through one-way mirrored glass.
We picked up some information yesterday that a possible racial problem was happening yesterday. There was a large number of blacks and a large number of whites. Had a discussion. From there they dispersed. And what we're doing today is just keeping an eye on what we call like the heavies. Guys who pretty much have a lot of word or say in the block.
He's trying to get a racial thing going between the whites and the blacks. Is he white? Yeah, he's a white guy. He's he's an older white guy, maybe in his mid-40s, trying to get these younger kids up and coming to join him.
Walpole is an outdated, maze-like facility, but the IPS security unit has managed to turn the ventilation shafts and inner corridors into hidden listening posts.
They're aware that we do come down here and monitor them, but if they hear our radio going or if they hear us creak on one of the grates, what they'll do is they'll yell IPS behind the block, so that way it warns the other inmates in the unit that we're back there. But as long as we're quiet, they should have no indications that we're back there.
Be careful there with your flashlight because that window right there is not a one-way mirror. They can see you. We're gonna go up to the second floor now.
head over to 33. Did you copy that?
Yeah, I'm there right now, but
Well, certainly, you know, in this sort of situation, the incarcerated people know that this is how the police creep. As he said, they normally start yelling in the back when they make noise, knowing that the police are coming from the back. So they know that they had this tunnel or this way to get to them and creep. You see they're peeping out through a window, watching the dude inside of this cell who apparently they have pegged as a shot caller to see about this racial tension. But certainly the incarcerated people know that the police have means to watch them, you know, at all times. They should be on their best behavior, or at least cognizant of that, and proceeding accordingly.
I can't make it out.
Yeah, did you get anything out of that?
And Paul, what cell do you have them in?
The whole crew is in cell 34. But they're in front of the cell, so I don't know what you can pick up. They can see you out of it.
Back there, you wouldn't believe what you heard. You have one guy come over to another guy, hey John, I'm looking to get a weapon, you know, what do you got? Well, I know a guy who's got a 12-inch piece of steel. I know another guy who's got a pick. Oh, okay, all right, great. What do you want?
Premier Protein Caramel Shake, my ride or die. 30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Maybe they don't know they're back there. Maybe they're slipping and up, you know. Certainly they know that they can creep back there at any time, and if it's that hollow to where you can hear what's being said, they should know this as well and be very careful of what they say out loud, not knowing when the police are around.
Talking about who's making the home brew tonight and what time they're gonna get together and split it up. Whoa, you all right?
Walpole will always be Walpole. They're stuck with us and we're stuck with them until further notice. Anyway.
Alex Rodriguez has particular first-hand knowledge about gangs from having been raised in the inner city. There are so many gang members here, they're kept isolated in 4 designated cell blocks to prevent them from gaining new recruits.
Yeah, we're gonna straighten it up.
Prison gangs are highly organized, making them the biggest threat to security. The mere presence of our cameras seems to have set them off.
Yeah, porque eso va a traer problemas.
Yeah, no, nobody's face is going to be on.
I know, that's not the point though, you know what I'm saying?
It's not up to me. I just follow orders, man. We're going to get them out of there.
What's going on?
Huh?
What's going on?
Yeah, they're not happy. So it'd probably be better off to do it from outside.
Okay. Hey, they didn't want you in that block.
No, they didn't want us in there. Basically, they're just giving us a heads up, you know. Hopefully we have that respect, we can relate with each other. It should be no big, you know.
And who would they most be angry at?
Me.
Why?
Because I'm the gang officer and I should have known better, and that's how they play it.
Dealing with gangs involves unique risks. Their power can extend far beyond the prison walls.
About a year and a half ago, I had an incident where a number of guys showed up in front of my house, threatened me, basically told me to stop doing what I'm doing. But nothing assaultive, no physical action occurred. They walked away, I walked away. So it was a big thing. Sometimes you got to be very careful on how you relate with these guys. If they want to find out where you live, they have no problem doing it.
Threats from inmates come in many forms. This afternoon, the security unit has intercepted an intimidating letter to a state prosecutor.
We wrote a letter to the district attorney's office, the state police called. It's a real nice letter. Dear Mr. O'Reilly, parentheses, Mr. Deadman. I hope that when you get this letter that you're dead, I'm going to have my people put a bomb in your car. I'll also have a bomb in your house and yours. How's your wife doing? I'm sure you don't want anything to happen to her. And it also says, P.S. Get back to me, motherfucker. Because you'll die real soon, so count your blessings.
Kenny, I'd like you to take a look at this here. Death threats and what have you.
Now, of course, all of the letters in prison are screened outgoing and incoming. So why someone would be so reckless as to write a letter like this, knowing that the authorities could get their hands on it, and probably would, as they did, is beyond me. These are terrorist threats right here, essentially. You know, I mean, he's threatening, what they say, a DA, a prosecutor, or something. He's trying to send it to the prosecutor, talking about how's your wife doing, and I'm going to blow up your car and your house and all this shit. I mean, just plainly saying these things in a letter from prison. Really?
We need somebody to go down and take him out and have a word with him.
Okay. On the streets, you have a situation with the Middlesex District Attorney's Office?
Yeah, I got a problem with them.
Did you write them any letters?
I wrote them letters.
Recently?
About 2 weeks ago or something like that.
You're going to have to start seeking some better avenues than this. You send out things to these people in these high places. It's going to come back and haunt you, buddy. And you just came out of a situation over the weekend where you got involved with the officer down there doing the same damn thing.
Yeah, no, he threatened an officer yesterday too?
He threw juice in the officer's face and did threaten him with bodily harm and death.
You're not going to go too far like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing time for, what are you doing time for?
For manslaughter, for supposedly killing my uncle. You know, I got a deep problem. You know, I got like a personality problem. One minute I be a thugster, next minute I be a cry loop, you know,
La 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 la
shy little baby type person.
Okay. I can't think of anything else. Can you, Officer Rivera? Dave, we're all set. Thank you.
I've been here 16 years, and everybody in here is a bad guy. An inmate, get under your skin. If they know more about you than what meets the eye here at your workplace, they're going to utilize that to their advantage, sure. No question about that.
We hear stories that inmates, spit in the food. There's stories they squirted semen in the food. Anything, something falls on the floor, they put it back in. The worst possible thing you can think someone can do to food, they've probably done it. So that's why you see a lot of the old timers will never touch it. They'll bring their own food. But I eat it.
Here's my question. Right. Is Charlie begging because he wants to go to yard?
Charlie's begging because, exactly, sir.
You tell Charlie that you're in charge of the tier.
Right.
And that he'll get his recreation. However, he does not dictate to you when he goes to yard. He'll be allowed to go to yard when you decide he has to go out.
All right, sir.
Charlie Chase is considered the most violent and unmanageable inmate at Walpole. Originally convicted of armed robbery and murder, he has racked up a record 132 disciplinary offenses behind bars, earning him the longest sentence ever in the DDU.
Yeah! That's right! Get him down! Get him! Yeah!
As far as Charlie's concerned, he's stripped all the time. His cell is shaken down because he's a major escape risk as well as a threat to the security of the institution. He's caught all the time with makeshift contraband. He's caught with weapons.
Okay. He's got a swastika painted right here, Steve. He's got one on his trap door, too.
He's very disruptive down here. I don't think there's been one consistent month that he's behaved himself, so his time down here isn't counting, and that goes on a month-to-month basis.
Do you think he's crazy?
Crazy? Tries to come off like that, but theoretically, I don't think he's crazy, no.
Given his often bizarre behavior, Charlie's lawyers question whether solitary confinement is in fact driving him insane. Along with 10 other DDU inmates, Charlie is named in a class action lawsuit, claiming that the DDU employs cruel and unusual punishment.
All this that you're witnessing is a conspiracy to keep a good man down. That's all it is.
He's a clown.
No, it's not the right opinion, but he is.
How long you been in here, Charlie?
How long I've been here?
Yeah.
6 years this year.
When you getting out?
I don't know. I got another 9 years left. Yeah, they took a lot of good time from me, you know? Like I said earlier, it's like a conspiracy to set me up to leave me here, you know what I mean?
Okay. Thank you, Charlie.
We've had our problems down here. A lot of it's been with forced moves in the cells, inmates.
Those situations will drive you crazy. I don't know about Charlie's, mental state, but in isolation, solitary confinement, for months on end, even years on end, is sensory deprivation. And it will cause you to lash out when you do finally get a chance to. It's a form of torture, actually. And I understand that people are in there for committing crimes and it's not supposed to be Disneyland, but some of this stuff is indeed inhumane. And I'm just saying, these are the same individuals that have to, at some point, or that will, most of them, return to society.
Refusing to come out of their cells, refusing to exit their cells. So a team would be put together, wearing protective gear, and we try to get him out.
Some DDU inmates are considered so dangerous that it can require as many as 6 officers in full body armor to extract them from their cells.
This 60-second trick will change your life. Meet Pi, a Chrome extension that blocks ads and it's completely free. What's really
A cell extraction, we used to do this in High Desert State Prison often. Board up, what you call board up the cells, put covers, towels, toilet paper, whatever in the front of the window. The COs have to come by and count you. They have to attest for you. They have to account for you. And some way they have to make sure you're alive and that you haven't escaped, that you're in there. So they have to count you 3 or 4 different times of the day. And if your window is covered, they can't count you. They can't say if you're alive in there or not, if you are even in there or not. So they tell you, take the cover down, take the cover down. If you don't take the cover down, they gear up like this, helmets, vests, a lot of spray, and they come and spray until you surrender. Come and open up the tray slot, what they call a tray slot in your cell, where they feed you, and they spray this strong mace in there until you give up. But the whole building does this, and sometimes the whole yard, and they'll be doing cell extractions for hours until the next day. And it's for different reasons. People are protesting because the food portions are not big enough, or they took the visits away for any particular reason, and everyone wants to see their family. For those who get visits, they increased the prices in the canteen, or took some items off of the canteen list, what have you. Whatever people are protesting about, they say, all right, man, let's cell extract. We're going to board up our cells. Because, again, they have to come in there and get you because they have to account for you. This is essentially what this is here.
This particular move involves inmate Charlie Chase. For legal reasons, such incidents are always videotaped by prison officials.
You accept that if you violate rules and regulations that you're going to be punished. But then there's a fine line between what's punishment and what's torture. A guy that's behaving in an odd manner because of being psychologically unbalanced is a lot different than what I knowingly did. I escaped. I knowingly knew what I was doing. But an inmate that's having a psychotic episode, and as a consequence of that behavior is put into DDU, something's very wrong with that. That I have a problem dealing with.
I go home tomorrow morning. What are you, wrapping up?
What's it been like for you?
If we put microwaves and
and refrigerators and washers and dryers in their cells, they find something else to complain about. I mean, you can see their living conditions are not that bad.
Living conditions are bad. You live in there then. If you put a washing machine and dryer and a refrigerator in their cell, they'll still find something to complain about. I don't think so. Studies have shown that incarcerated people who do have some amenities, there's less violence on the yard, less violence towards the COs, period. For the prisons that have televisions, radios, etc., something to divert the violence that besets the people who are incarcerated. It's a relief system, if you will, the same as exercise and working out when you're stressed. So if you have a TV and a washing machine and dryer and a refrigerator, as he alluded to, then things would be different. And he said that the living conditions are not that bad, but this is coming from someone who hasn't spent one night in the cell. I get it. You're going to say, well, he didn't commit a crime. Well, we don't know that. We've all had a past in the history, and some people commit crimes all the time. They just don't get caught. You know, that's it. But to say that these living conditions are not that bad is someone who was disconnected from reality. This coming from someone who hasn't lived it. That's it.
Some of the most dangerous inmates here show serious symptoms of mental illness.
Hands right, your mouth.
And for the security unit, dealing with these individuals can be intensely frustrating.
Well, this inmate sent a letter to one of the mental health workers. He's been sending letters to everybody. So I'm just going to go through it and see.
Love butter pecan? Let Paris Baguette sweeten your day with a lineup of butter pecan latte.
What we got here.
He sent a letter to the mental health. You can't read that letter. That's confidential.
A lot of it is just nonsense stuff. Aggravation type things. And there's a nice little package of something here. I have no clue what it is. I'm starting to get an aroma of it now, and it smells like human regurgitation.
You know how many letters I've gone through of yours over the last couple of months with feces in them and everything else in them? I mean, I don't really want to open it up because the letter stinks, and I'll probably stink up this whole room when I unseal this bag.
So what, did you was a handwriting analysis expert, you know, hired to detect that was my handwriting?
It's not needed.
So you saying that there's no possible way that another inmate could have forwarded that, you know?
No, I'm just asking you if you wrote it. I'm not here to critique the contents of the letter. I don't think there's a need to send it to a lab or to have it analyzed. I'm asking you, did you write the letter?
Makes you feel like you want to do something to the guy to make it permanently stop. You know, deal with it directly in different ways, but it makes you feel pretty disgusted.
Do we have to screen every single piece of mail that you generate? Does it have to come to that? I hope it doesn't. It'd just be tedious for me, you know what I mean? I don't feel like checking your mail every single day.
I have no comment.
Well, that's about the end of this. Come on.
This individual also threw a nice big...
Okay, so someone, whomever it is putting human feces inside of the letter, wrapping it up and sending it out. They're accusing this man of doing that, saying that he's mentally ill.
Jeez. Cup full of human feces on a clergyman. As the clergyman was standing by his cell trying to help him out, the inmate proceeded to stab him in his arm and then throw a big fluffernutter container full of human excrement all over the clergyman. Okay, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. In fact, for that last escapade with the religious person, I think that's going to get him some DDU time.
In the main section of Walpole Prison, a major disturbance has broken out in one of the cell blocks. We're denied permission to film during the incident, and are only now allowed briefly to see its aftermath.
I'm going to go down with the lieutenant. We're going to just make a round in the unit, see how things are going, take a peek in the cells, pull in the doors, just to get a general feel for what's going on. When you're doing something like that, maybe a con or two will stop you and they'll let you know what's up, give you a little feedback as to what's going on in that unit. How'd you end up in this thing? I seen you come on from breakfast, right? Yeah, how did you get caught up in that stuff?
This occurred because the inmates that were put in here were previously in a regular population block. They had yard privileges, they had chow hall privileges, and I guess it's their way of protesting it being returned to higher custody. We'll just go ahead and monitor. We'll monitor for any more ringleaders. If the ringleaders have to come out, they'll be taken out and be brought to seg. So we'll wait for the word from the top.
How often does this kind of thing happen?
Not very often anymore. Not very often anymore.
Later, Lieutenant Robert McGinnis shows some of the younger officers a videotape of what Walpole used to be like.
Well, as I suspected, this is a security housing unit. This is not the general population, because this is not how people live in general in prison. This is more like solitary confinement, this section here, and that's exactly what it is, or security housing unit of some sort.
This was March 6, 1981. It was a very long day. It started at 7 o'clock in the morning with what we were going to consider routine moves to segregation of, I think, 5 or 6 inmates. I was at cell 15 down the end. I believe it was an inmate on the 3rd tier. That was refusing to come out.
You ever seen this tape?
No, I have never seen this tape.
Yeah.
They're going in his cell. He's fighting. He's actually stabbed. The captain, you can see the blood.
Where were you while this was going on?
I'm one of those 4 or so officers that went down there, yeah. I was at the other end of the tier. We'd gone down, and what happens at this point is the TAC members up in the gallery are introducing gas into the unit. At this point, we've introduced some officers with shotguns.
He's got a gas gun?
No, shotgun. I just think it was the strong will of the department to run its facilities and not allow inmates to run its facilities. And I think that concept holds true today, that, you know, we run the institutions, not the inmates.
You know, they always say people in law enforcement have the highest divorce rate and this and that. And it always seems to be that they let themselves get stressed out, you know. They take everything in, or they, you know, being around inmates all the time.
And you know, he's saying that they say officers have the highest divorce rate, and that's true. Now, when I was in High Desert State Prison, I remember reading an article, excuse me, an article in the newspaper saying that, you know, COs had the highest suicide rate, alcoholism, domestic violence, like they were going home beating their wives, COs, stressed out from work. So inmates have a lot of mental stress on them, obviously, for obvious reasons. They're the ones locked up inside of a cell, inside of a cage, have however much time they have, 3 life sentences plus 106 years, etc. And this will cause immense stress upon anyone's psyche. But the officers are in there as well, and they're dealing with the inmates who are, you know, mentally disturbed, if you will, or upset about their situation. And, you know, people say for 8 hours the officers are locked up as well. Not necessarily, they're never inside of a cell, but I get what they're saying. You know, they're inside of a building. They're stuck on this yard as well. They don't have total freedom. They're free, but they don't have total freedom of movement. And, you know, dealing with that sort of environment where, you know, it's just like the people who are coming back from war have post-traumatic stress, you know, and no one in prison is going to leave unaffected. No one, you know. And if the officers are there and they see all of this violence, they're on the receiving end of some of this violence, and they also see a lot of violence. They see a lot of people stabbed, murdered, down there bleeding, drug use, etc. And it affects them. So apparently, because the study showed, like he's alluding to, that they had the highest divorce rate, again, domestic violence, suicide, etc. So the job is affecting them as well.
They're not here because they're the nicest people in society, you know. And prison life in general is depressing, you know.
How long are you in here for?
Prison for 27 years.
What'd you do?
Second-degree murder.
Not so long ago, there was an inmate murdered in here. As in other places of the prison. When you think, it's not a dangerous place because you look around and you see, well, everyone's working. This particular incident happened first thing in the morning. They arrived to work. And by the end of the day, one was dead. So that's the kind of things that...
Pit Viper. I had low P, low performance. That's when I discovered...
Transpire. Right in this area here. It's one of those things.
There have been staff members over the years that have turned into alcoholics as a result of this job.
See, I just said that. She just said we've had staff members who have turned into alcoholics because of this job.
We've had people commit suicide.
Commit suicide. I just said that.
And I really think a lot of it is because they don't do something to relieve their stress outside of work.
What happens if you hear that alarm is always in the back of your head? When's it going to go off? What do I do if the alarm goes off? What's my job? If everybody does their little job, then we should be okay.
It could be anywhere from a homicide to just one inmate
yelling at the officer or
punching another inmate, that the officer felt the need to freeze the place up.
That stress level is always there, yes. That's probably why our life expectancy is an average of 55 years.
Today at Walpole State Prison, inmate Louis Vega is going home. In just 30 minutes, he will leave solitary confinement in the DDU, be given a $50 check, and go directly back into society.
How long has it been, Louis?
How long has it been? 5 years, some months.
How's it feel now?
It was good, that's how it should feel, after leaving these walls.
I think that when an inmate finishes his sentence and commits some sort of heinous crime within a short period of time, there's a hue and cry that, well, he never should have been released. Well, he had to have been released. He finished his sentence. And, do we rehabilitate people? People want to have to change themselves. Most of the people that we see in our system are just career criminals, and doing time is just part of that business. It's a temporary setback.
I can't say I'm never coming back, because where I come from, it ain't cookies and milk. So, and I'm going back home, back to the same place. I'm not gonna deny where I'm from, and I ain't gonna run from it either.
Hey.
They're seeing you, and they're looking at you the way you conduct yourself, and they may try to emulate that. They may try to resent that, your authority figure. Believe it or not, it's like with anyone you meet.
Know that feeling? She yelling, "Daddy, Mom!" That's his mama crying. I already know that's his mama crying.
Anything you do, you leave something behind, no matter where you go or what you do. You leave something behind with somebody. I believe that, you know. Maybe you can leave a little something good that when they do get back out into society, you know, maybe you've done a little good. It's not too often that you feel like you've done some good.
I'm not gonna stay here till I'm growing old, you know what I mean? You're surrounded by concrete and bars, and all you're hearing all day is slamming doors and metal hitting metal, you know? I mean, it gets to you, you know? I've seen some people retire and 2 months down the road drop dead of a heart attack. It's all thrown away, you know, and that's not what I want to do.
Your plans when you get out of here in 20 years?
Oh, 20 years. I couldn't even tell you. I'm hoping that I can have my kids in school. You know, that's pretty much, I'm thinking of them instead of me. As long as I'm living and happy, I'm all set, pretty much.
See, this is our seniority list. When you make it to the front page, it's big of the seniority list. Right now, well, Kenny and Johnny are on the second page, and I'm at the. Well, I might have snuck into the second page.
After that.
These guys up at the top, boy, they're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
We wish we were them.
They're dead in 6 months.
You know,
One foot in the
hey,
grave.
right?
I wish I
guys,
was
30 years, 27, 25, 26, 25. You know, once they leave, you know, they're all done.
Of course, don't ask what their mental capacity is after
That's right.
25 years. Because it's not doing too good.
They just want to stay so they can show off this front page.
I'll still be here.
The nicest trainer fellow would be there.
Wow. Okay, everyone, and as you can see, I guess, you know, one of the biggest lessons from this is just the stress that is involved with this that consumes everyone inside of prison. No one is unaffected, including, as you can see, the officers who, as the man said, retired some and dropped dead 2 months later from a heart attack from the stress. The lady said some have committed suicide. Some have turned to alcohol. Some commit domestic violence against their own wives. Some just get divorced, etc. because of the stress that goes along with prison. So then just imagine if the officers who are thus free go home every day after their shift, they go home. They see their families every day. And they still are stressed to the point of suicide. Then what must the incarcerated people be going through, the inmates, who in many instances do not see their families for years upon years? Kids, mothers, you name it. They don't see them. They don't have human contact. They're not on the phone like these officers are on the phone every day, etc. They're not eating the same kind of foods that they're eating. They're not outside of their cells. And if the officers are feeling this much stress to where they're taking their own lives and becoming alcoholics, then certainly the incarcerated people are under that much more stress. I understand they are incarcerated. They committed the crime. Supposedly, some of them did. But again, you still have to be humane with them and treat them with humanity. If for no other reason, if it's not natural to you, then for the fact that these are the same individuals who are returning at some point again to society. So let's help them and not anger them. Let's rehabilitate them. You know, it's like a caged lion, a caged pit bull, tiger, who is one day, we all know, going to be free of that cage. And yet while he's in the cage, you're poking and prodding him, starving him, beating him, knowing that one day he's going to be released from that cage. What do you think that animal is going to do once released if this is how he's being treated while locked down. Stay safe and stay free, people.